Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another Morning Coffee Talks. It has been right at 3 months that I've taken off of YouTube, man. And I gotta say, there's so much that's happened in these last 3 months that I would love to share, and I'm gonna share. And I'm gonna share it over like the next couple of videos and stuff like that. But today in particular, we got to talk about growth and comfort, right? And what I've learned is, man, life don't stop, and so there's no time for you to stop. And let me make sure I preference this, right? When you look at life, when you look at the sun, it comes up every day, it goes down every day. The moon comes up every day, it goes down every day, right? The plants are on a cycle, the days are on a cycle. Everything constantly moves, right? And so when you look at yourself as a man, you have to constantly move. Now, that doesn't mean that you constantly have your foot on the gas. You could take your foot off the pedal a little bit. You can hit the pedal a little bit. You could stop at points like at a stop sign, but then you just go through it, or a stoplight, right? But you constantly drive the car. You constantly keep it moving. And I think that these 3 months has taught me that yeah, there's no time off. You have to constantly move. So yeah, just going forward, man, there's no time off from this YouTube. I appreciated it. I was able to reflect. However, listen, comfort is slowly killing growth for a lot of men. And I almost tapped into that, right? I almost tapped into that comfort by taking time off. Now, taking time off was for me to just really lock in on my health and my fitness. Just really lock in and give myself time to take a moment to really hit one of my major milestones, which is actually losing 100 pounds. 100 pounds, man. And I've still got a lot of work to do, but we here, right? We still got a lot of work and a little bit at the same time. But again, that brings me to today's video, which is comfort is slowly killing people's growth, especially men. And I would say, just in general, most men aren't stuck because they lack potential, right? They're stuck because they get comfortable in life. And the thing about comfort is it removes pressure, right? And growth quietly slows down for a lot of them. So let's just talk about how comfort delays progress and how to recognize, when it's happening. And so these last 3 months, right? I could say this: definitely comfort removes urgency. It definitely removes urgency. When life feels manageable, the hunger to grow starts to fade. And it's good to have systems, it's good to be on top of things, but manageable, just that comfort level when you like feel like you got everything just in order all the time and there's nothing else happening, that's when you start to be like, all right, I can kind of relax. I can just take my foot off the gas. But no, you constantly got to have something you're aiming towards. You got to constantly have something that you're pursuing. And that's the thing is life. When you look at the plants, right? When things growing every time the season comes in spring, they're constantly pushing to get from the seed to the roots and out the ground to get that sunlight to grow, right? They're constantly pushing every time. And you got to be the same way, right? There going to be times, there going to be seasons where you just growing, right, growing the roots. But there's also going to be the seasons when you pushing to get out the ground. But the whole point is you can't just stay on the ground the whole time, right? At some point, you're going to have to grow. And if not, then you just kind of die off like a dead plant or something like that. But listen, if there's no immediate pain, change is going to get postponed, right? Growth usually happens under pressure, not ease. And that's the thing about it. It also, comfort creates this kind of justifiable excuses, right? Comfort, it doesn't sound lazy. It sounds reasonable, right? And which is crazy because it's just another excuse. It's just another excuse. Oh, I'll start later. Now's not the right time. it just delays progress. And so I wanted to make this video in particular today because tomorrow is the start of 2026. And a lot of guys, we just talked about this last year, about what we need to do this year as far as like really pushing and, like I said, leveling up and growing. And, I think it's a lot of time for us to reflect this year. Did we really hit our goals? Did we grow it at all? Did we do what we say we was going to do? Did we get disciplined? Or did we just get comfortable? Right. And so you just got to realize that comfort just keeps you busy without moving forward. You can be working hard, but working hard at the wrong things. Right. And that's where we don't want to be. Here's the thing. Growth rarely feels convenient. Right. Growth often shows up as an inconvenience first. Like, man, why I got to do this? Or, hey, this is hard. It feels like a strain. It feels like a stressor. But that's only in the beginning, right? And I remember talking to my nephew. I think it was like last month. I went down to see him. What was this? Oh, Thanksgiving. Yeah, so it was last month. And I helped him drive a car, right? And I remember just telling him that it gets easier, right? You're going to learn where the windshield wipers work, what the turn signals are, backing up the car. All this stuff gets easier because we all remember when we first got in the car. We barely knew how to crank it up. We barely knew how to put in reverse. We'll get confused on what gear is in. But it gets easier now. Most of us can just hop in the car, and it's like knowing the back of our hand, right? Discomfort isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong, right? It's usually proof that you're moving in the right direction. And so you got to remember, small discomforts creates momentum. Growth doesn't require this drastic change. It just requires little changes, right? The game of inches. We talked about that. I love football. I love basketball too, but football is the thing that really had me tapped in to understand that life is a game of inches, right? You don't always have to make these big jumping milestones. Like for me, these 100 pounds, it took me right at honestly like 2 years officially to get down there. And I still got work to do. I'm thinking like, man, when I get down 100 pounds and be where I'm at, I still got a lot of work, but it's okay. Again, it's the small things I did every day and the small things I'm still doing every day, right? The big momentum things that you'll see over time starts with consistency, starts with the small steps. And it doesn't always have to be a lot of intensity. Like a lot of guys, right? A lot of people tomorrow, right? It's going to be the New Year's. They're going to be so motivated to go to the gym. They're going to get in there. They're going to be intense. Like, man, I'm going to hit it. They're going to be trying to do 2-a-days. They're going to be burning out cardio, throwing the weights around. They're going to be super motivated, which is great, right? You in there. However, will you be consistent or will you just be intense, right? Will you have consistency or will you just have intensity? And that's the difference. So listen, if you want to make a change in 2026, right? If you want to not be comfortable and going into 2026 and not have any growth like you did in 2025, you have to make the change, right? You have to make the change of discipline. You have to make the change of being consistent. If you're going to go to the gym, great. If you're going to start anything new, great. But just have a plan so you're consistent. Don't go in there feel like you got to do everything in 30 days and 1 week. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Trust me. I'm still on my journey. It's been a long journey. However, I'm here to tell you, you don't have to overhaul your life in 1 day or just today, right? You need to be honest about where you are in this life, right? You need to be honest about you being comfortable, and you have to replace it with growth. So let me just say that in 2026, let's push ourselves, let's grow even more, and let's stop being comfortable. So listen, with that being said, I appreciate y'all watching. Like I said, we're back locked in. The Morning Coffee Talk. videos. If it's your first time watching, please hit that subscribe button, like the video, share it out. And until next time, I appreciate y'all. Much love. Peace.